Today, ReedAgain is going to show us why the 60 TP is one of the very best tanks in World of Tanks today. I'm LadPad, and welcome to the video. Right off the bat, we're jumping into a tier 10 matchup. This is the worst possible matchmaking for a tier 10 heavy tank in the game. He's not going to be whack-a-moling poor tier 8s. He's not going to be dominating tier 9s. He is at, not a disadvantage, but he's on equal footing with everybody he's about to face. And right away, he's going to show exactly what's strong about this tank. He's in the 60 TP, very, very slow. Not mouse level slow, but this thing, it lumbers. You can see just how much faster this IS-7 is getting in position. There are so many other tanks that have better mobility than this thing. So, mobility, not its strong suit. What is going to be just absolutely fantastic about this tank is going to be its alpha damage, because you can poke in, and if people make a little mistake, you can punish them heavily. However, the downside of having this incredible alpha damage is going to be just the gun handling. The gun handling is not awful, especially considering how big this gun is, but it's not accurate, it aims slowly, and so you can see that right here, ReedAgain presses his R key, he starts going forward very, very slowly, and that allows him to just control this awful dispersion just a little bit better, because he's moving so incredibly slowly, and he pops in actually a low roll of 704 straight in. So excellent play by ReedAgain right there, and now he's getting pushed up. This T-22 looks like, ooh, it wanted to reverse side scrape, but it pushes a little bit too aggressively and takes a huge shell. And so right away, ReedAgain puts in a shell 732. This T-22 actually gets 2 shots into him, and he still won this trade. And that's what's just so strong about the 60 TP. As you fire, as you put in a shell, you are hitting so much harder than your opponents are. ReedAgain puts in a poor shot, one of the few he's going to have in this replay, and we're going to see if he's going to regret it soon, because right now an object 705A is pushing aggressively into him, and the player seems to know what he's doing because he is side scraping. The 705A is a phenomenal side scraper, arguably the very best in the entire game. The 60 TP actually has a few cheeks that can be penetrated, and the lower plate is just garbage, and so it's much weaker in this position. However, the 705A fires, gives up his position, and then allows ReedAgain to put in a shot right here. And so what you want to do, as ReedAgain showed us, is when you're at a disadvantage in a side scraping position, wait for your opponent to make a mistake, and then after they fire, then you can pressure against them. And when you've got a tank with phenomenal alpha damage, like the 60 TP does, you will just out-trade your opponents. Anytime you get a bounce from your opponent, you can do so much more in reverse. Right here, excellent shot by ReedAgain, and showing once again why the trading is so strong with this tank. He puts in a shot for 802, and he actually bounces the 260, who is firing heat, by the way. Now take a look. He could shoot in the tracks. He decides not to, because with the 60 TP, when you're firing these heat rounds, it's really difficult to go through the tracks. And so instead of going into the tracks and maybe getting absorbed, he puts a shot into the flat, or at least unangled upper plate of that 260, because the guy came in at an angle. And so excellent play by ReedAgain right there, and it's something you have to watch out for. These heat shells right here have 317 millimeters penetration. That's actually not very good for a tier 10 heavy tank, and these things get absorbed all the time. You'll notice that ReedAgain has 10 AP shells, and that's because I think in a lot of different situations you would rather fire AP than these heat rounds. And so I like the ammo loadout. He is shooting almost exclusively heat so far, but that is going to change later on in the replay. Also, one thing that needs to be said about the 60 TP, it's just a really good all-round, it's well-rounded, I should say. It's got a little bit of gun depression, so unlike an E100, you can poke up over a ridge, and you can have a little bit of gun depression and a really good chance of bouncing shells. There is one weak point on the 60 TP. It's going to be this little top hatch right here. Outside of that, though, you've got just a phenomenal turret, and it allows you to do a lot of hold-down plays that aren't accessible to the E100, which is the 60 TP's direct competition. The E100 can run the 15cm gun, giving it 750 alpha damage. However, if you're running that in the E100, in truth, you are just, frankly, a worse 60 TP, and so it makes this tank so much stronger. Also, if your opponents make a singular mistake, like the AMX M454 does right there, it's 750 alpha damage. And you can just see that damage just adds up over time. I believe ReedAgain's penetrated about 6 or 7 shots, and he's already up to 4,600 damage. If you penetrated 6 shells in something like an AMX 105, the light tank, or a Centurion Action 10, you would only be up to about 2,400 damage. That's doubled in this thing. And once again, ReedAgain puts in a singular shot, and he's just doing double the damage. He's also bouncing shells with fairly good consistency, because the 60 TP just has excellent armor. Even the whole armor, as you take a look at this thing, this upper plate is incredibly troll. It will bounce so many shells. It does have a driver's hatch weak point that you definitely can take advantage of, but if you rotate it and move it, even that driver's hatch weak spot can get angled to some points where it becomes incredibly troll against your opponents. Add on to that the lower plate is very skinny, and it allows you to do a lot of exceptional things. Poor shell right there, the Jagdpanzer was actually angling just a little bit as it came around the corner. ReedAgain would have done a much better job to shoot into the flat frontal plate of the Jagdpanzer, and now he's in a bit of a sticky situation because this Jagdpanzer can outtrade him. One of the few tier 10 tanks that can outtrade him with alpha damage. However, ReedAgain puts an excellent shot in, and because you have a turret, you can side scrape in the 60 TP. The Jagdpanzer fires, and so now ReedAgain has better alpha damage, or I should say a better reload, and he can try the exact same trick once again. He's going to pull back, put a shell right into the cheek of the Jagdpanzer, and now he gets to pull back, and because he's got fairly decent reverse speed, he actually had a chance perhaps to pull it on that corner. Instead, he's worried about the FE shell. The FE's trying to get a shot. Notice how well armored this tank is. The FE can't even fire because he can't aim fast enough. And so right there, the armor doesn't bounce a shell, but its thickness and its ability to block so many different rounds forces the FE to load for a longer period of time, and that allows ReedAgain to put in the shot before taking a whopping 1,750 alpha damage shell. He then flanks behind the S-Conqueror, puts in a phenomenal shot, and you are seeing exactly what's good about the 60 TP. All of these rounds that he's bouncing are in the 300 to at max 650 alpha damage range. They're also all gold, and he's still bouncing time after time after time. And so he's able to do a lot of things where he bounces a shell or maybe absorbs one and then fires in a 750 damage missile. Also note that ReedAgain's loaded HE. These HE rounds are phenomenal. They've got 950 average alpha damage. That is massive on a heavy tank, and he thinks that he's going to be firing at an AMX in the near future, maybe an EBR. The AMX pops up on low health actually, and whoa, what a clutch shot right there. He rolls the dice, lets him loose, and he rolls all 6s and ends up with a kill on that AMX that could have been a serious threat in the future. Now in a 3 versus 4, ReedAgain's team is down by 1,100 health. He's up to 8,700 damage, and now facing a full health E100. One downside of what he's done is he's been firing heat non-stop throughout this entire replay. That means he only has 2 heat shells left for this E100. So he can penetrate the cheeks of the E100 turret right there, and only has 1 shell remaining. So he's going to have to probably load some AP when facing this tank. The Batchat is flanking around, and notice just how much better the 60 TP is when it has its 750 alpha damage versus the E100. The E100 can't penetrate him, he can penetrate the E100's turret. It's just a major advantage when facing off like this. Now the Batchat looks like it's going to die, yes, to the EBR, and now this E100 on 804 health should be able to take a shot from the 60 TP. However, loading AP, he high rolls. He actually high rolled 3 shells in a row against that E100, and now he's facing off against the EBR. The EBR is on 924 health. No way he can kill him with a single shell with the AP. However, check this intuition swap. Fantastic decision, and now he should be able to one-shot this EBR, and bang! That is almost 1,000 damage in a single heavy tank shot. This is not a tank destroyer. This has full-blooded tier 10 heavy tank armor, and it's doing 1,000 a shot. Phenomenal play with the HE, and now he can HE straight through the AMX M454's upper plate. Yes, the AMX has really strong frontal armor, but he's got 12 health, and you can easily whack 12 health down with an HE shell. So that reduces ReedAgain. He was once in a 1 versus 3 at a major health point disadvantage, and now he's at about even health with a Bat Chat artillery. And so in a 1v1, what is he going to do? He's got 5 minutes, so plenty of time to chase the artillery or to cap. And right now, his friendly FE 4005 is pinging, asking him to cap. In this situation, the Bat Chat is definitely going to be able to outrun him if the Bat Chat wants, and so it's a pretty clear decision. You'll likely want to jump onto the cap and let the chips fall where they may. Up to 6 kills, 12,000 damage, one of the best rounds of World of Tanks in 2024, and just to point out again what this tank was capable of that other tanks are not. He's bounced 3,400 damage. That is a high amount for this tank. However, it is not too rare to get consistent bounces in a tank like this. You get to abuse your turret. Your turret is so strong in so many different situations. Your whole armor is very good overall. There are just so many troll spots that can force your enemies to miss. Or, I'll point out, this lower plate is really skinny. Something like a Super Conqueror has a really chunky, really tall lower plate that's easy to hit. This 60 TP lower plate is just phenomenally difficult to penetrate reliably and allows you to get a lot of bounces where people aim for the lower plate and either hit the dirt or hit that upper plate, and that's just almost automatically a ricochet. So, phenomenal armor, huge gun, not bad penetration, and it allows you just to do so many different things. The accuracy's a little difficult, but if you get lucky and you aim long enough, you can get shots like these and clean up a 7 kill, 12,539 damage round and a victory for our hero. ReedAgain had just the game of a lifetime right here. 12,539 damage. He gets 7 kills. He even gets 280 assistance. And perhaps the key to this game is look how much damage he ended up bouncing. That's 3,400. 1 from the 260. That's 1 from the 907. 2 from the Super Conqueror. 1 from the T22 medium. Notably, he bounced 1 from the E100. That is a huge shell to be blocking. He bounces 1 from the AMX. And even 1 from the 705A, which is... this could have killed him one time over, and every time he blocked a shell, he blocks the shell, pushed his pass, and then blasts his opponent for 750 damage, and that damage adds up. Right here, he's blocking collectively about 7-8 shells, and that means he's getting to output 7 or 8 shells against his opponent, which is about 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 damage, and that adds up very quickly. Add on to that just phenomenal plays. That EBR definitely could have outplayed him in conjunction with the artillery. He could have baited and switched him all around the map. Instead, he loads that HE shell, intuition swaps to it, and gets a 924 alpha damage roll, enough to clean up that EBR in a singular shell, and that was the game-winning play. Taking a look at the team list, really nobody on his entire team really did anything. Perhaps the T22 did his own health points in return, but almost nobody else, I think nobody else on his entire team managed to do their hit points except the artillery. And so this means it was just a monster carry. Also, at the end of the game, he was dealing with that AMX, who seems to be the enemy team's best player. He knocked out that E100, 3 shells over 2,200 damage, 3 straight high rolls, really helped solidify the victory in this game, and just a phenomenal round overall. He does lose a lot of credits. In fact, is running a standard account, so ends up losing 10,000 credits overall, even while using a bunch of his boosters. But I don't think he cares, because it was excellent marksmanship like this, 22 shells, 18 penetration. He pulls out a phenomenal victory and just about breaks even. Once again, congratulations to ReedAgain on one of the best replays of the year so far. And if you would like to get a tier 8 premium, then what you need to do is subscribe to the channel. Once we hit 1,000 subscribers, I will be gifting one lucky winner in the comment sections a tier 8 premium of their choice. So hit that subscribe button, drop a comment in the comment section, and I hope to see you soon. Lad out.